thrice, and then take a steady posture. Eyes are gently closed. Take a moment to center yourself. Inhale. 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 Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Slowly and gently you may open the eyes. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So continuing our discussion on Vedanta through Upadēśa Sāram, one has to ascertain very clearly what one wants in life. Otherwise, life will just be going in various directions and it will seem as if you have no control over it. In Sanskrit or Vedanta, we call it Purushartha Nishchaya. Knowing what one really wants. One seems to want various things in the world, but a question should be asked: do I want those things, objects, people, whatever they could be, for their own sake, or am I looking for something else through all these objects? If you question yourself and if you deeply examine life, you'll see that you're going behind every object or every person or every situation, or you want a certain configuration around you because not for its own sake, because you want to be free from unhappiness. You want to be free from dissatisfaction. Isn't it so? If somebody tries to strike a deal, suppose this were to happen, you are going to have a grand palatial home, but you are going to be dissatisfied every moment when you are inside it. Are you going to take up such a deal? A wise person doesn't take such a deal. Or somebody may say, Swamiji, it looks like my life already. So, what a person is looking for in and through every transaction, in and through every action that one does, is freedom from unhappiness. Freedom from feeling small. A person goes for fame. Many people in the society want name and fame. They're going behind it. For what? for really, if you examine that very deeply, you recognize that a lot of people feel very small inside and they cannot handle it. Nobody can handle that. So the way out for them, what they have recognized, is to go for fame. Because there is insecurity, there is this smallness, sense of smallness within. So a person wants name and fame in the society. Person is extremely lonely, wants to be noticed outside. There was a person, this is a real life story. There was a person. So there used to be one annual satsanga meeting in India. The weather is usually hot, so there were a lot of fans in a hall like this. So in the middle of the satsanga, this person used to switch off the fan. And then somebody asked, and just for a minute he would do that. He would switch off the fan for a minute, and then he would go on, then the satsanga would go on. Then somebody asked him, why do you do that? He said, I donated all these fans. My name is written on it. I want people to look up and see. Such is the unfortunate condition of people in the society who are only looking for name and fame. All of it is happening because one is extremely dissatisfied within and going behind multiple pursuits in order to get rid of this dissatisfaction within. So, a Vedanta student, an informed seeker, must be clear that what one is seeking in life is freedom from this dissatisfaction, a sense of limitation, a sense of inadequacy, dissatisfaction within. Thus, you have aligned yourself with the actual pursuit, actual purushartha, which is moksha. Thus, a person becomes a mumukshu. A person becomes mumukshu. Another thing in life which has to be very certain is to know what one is. Through the question, who am I? That's a very famous question of Ramana Maharshi. Usually, nobody ever asks this question, who am I? Because the labels provided by the world is very easily accepted. What is there to question that? I know what I am. I know who I am. I am this body. I am this person. This is very clear to me. In fact, to many people, it may look a silly, stupid question. Who am I? What is there? Don't you even know who you are? The problem here is, what problem humanity faces, an individual faces, is that when you don't know who you are, everybody else will tell you who you are. It is naisargika, that's how you are born, with a faculty, a limited sense that as a baby, one doesn't know what one is. And from that time, this conditioning, labeling, and this phenomenon of others telling you who you are starts. There's a child is born, doesn't know what one is, and the community will say, you belong to this family. A name is stuck on the person and say, this is what you are. And somebody else walks in and say, this is your nakshatram, star. And somebody else puts another label, this is your Rashi, zodiac sign. And somebody else says, before and all, they used to say, you are from the lineage of Gautama, Maharshi this, that. Now they'll say you're coming from the lineage of doctors, you also got to be one. So when you don't, then every other different labels are constantly put on this person, and labels of you are useless, you are not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not intelligent enough, you're not rich enough. So 100 million labels have been put already. Everyone is functioning through these labels. Vedanta is a quest. Upadēśa Sāram is a quest to separate oneself from all these labels and to ask, who am I? What is my real nature? What is my true nature? And in this process, a lot of actions have covered up our psyche. Because a human being has forgotten what one is. So Swami TV says, people do so much, it's not human being, it's human doing. Because nobody knows to just be. So one doesn't know what one wants in life, one doesn't know what one is. Such a complex, confused state. So a person thinks that by doing something or the other, I can keep gaining one after the other thing, and it'll enrich my self-identity. So person is covered up by actions, a world of actions. And through doing numerous actions, a person has considered oneself to be a karta, a bhokta. Very firm identities that I am a doer, I do things. All of this is running because of me. I call all the shots. And bhokta, meaning enjoyer, that my life is for enjoyment. I work hard, I do what is to be done, I do multiple things, I do many things, and I must enjoy. This is the paradigm. In fact, I was sharing here or elsewhere, I forgot, the most popular terminology in India among not young people, the older generation, in fact, is enjoy. We have to enjoy. Enjoy life. Enjoy life, enjoy life. Of course, one doesn't need to go through life in a dissatisfied manner, but the solution is not really thought of, is not well thought. What that enjoyment is, simply going after one thing after another, one show after another, one place after another. We analyzed it. One is never going to be satisfied through these karmas. And a worldly person goes for worldly actions. A religious person goes from one pilgrimage spot to another, yet dissatisfied. Kashi dissatisfied. Ayodhya dissatisfied. In fact, what has happened is, you have carried dissatisfaction to all the Punya Kshetras of Bharat. What has undergone real pilgrimage is the dissatisfaction. Amazing. So this is what happens. So Maharshi addressed this through the first two shlokas, telling us that, hey, may you recognize that all the things that are happening around you and the results which are coming in your life are not just because of you. Of course, you are involved, but there is a higher principle above you. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam karma kim param karma tajjadam. Recognize that this higher principle is involved in every karma and karma phala. And do not consider karma, actions, religious and worldly actions, alone as the ultimate thing in life, because they are limited. Limited can never give you unlimited. What one is seeking is limitless. But then this karma The Vedas themselves say, karma is a very compromised boat for you to travel from one shore to another. In our Hindu scriptures, this example of crossing from one shore to another, or crossing the ocean, is always compared to crossing of dukkha. One is in a state of dukkha, one is crossing towards sukha. And in order to cross from one end of the river to another end, you need a boat. And if you take the boat of actions in order to reach the ultimate destination, which is Ananda, then the Vedas themselves say this body, like boat or actions, are very flawed instruments. Very flawed instruments. So, may you recognize that. So that the person cools down a bit, recognizing this. Okay, everything is not in my hands. Few things are there, not everything. Few things are there. Fine, that's all. So, this will give us a lot of acceptance. Gets you a lot of acceptance. People think acceptance means a passive living, not doing anything, just being like a doormat, not doing anything in the world. No, it's not like that. Acceptance means a perception of reality of the world. That's it. That's what acceptance brings in your life. Then you do what is to be done. Then you do what is to be done. If there is a possibility to change, then change. And then once you know that there's no more possibility to change it, you better accept it. You better accept it. So one gets a lot of solace through acceptance. Somebody said, God, give me coffee to change the things that I can, and wine to accept the things I cannot change. In fact, it's a twisting of the serenity prayer. One got to have that grace of acceptance. Otherwise, you will be just switching between coffee and wine. No human problem will be solved by both these substances. So, a Vedanta student is a person who has acceptance of reality. That person becomes objective. There's a new qualification or a quality in that person. What is that? Objectivity. Of having a perception of reality, at least some of it. Kritimaho dadhau patana karanam phalamashashvatam gati nirodhakam. So, Maharshi further goes on to say that if you are submitting yourself to this endless cycle of action and result, it will become like a whirlpool and you'll be drowned in the ocean of samsara. And may you know that phala, the result, is ashashvata. It is not permanent. So like that of Purva Mimamsakas, workaholics cannot even be there for a moment. Just one moment they cannot handle. One has to think about it, because the body will not have power to keep on traveling from one place to another all the time. So what would one do at that stage if all the solution is centered just around activity, one activity after another? So we got to think about it. Now, Maharshi brings our focus to another important topic. The actions cannot be avoided in life. There are always things to do. Life means actions, isn't it so? Can somebody sit just to avoid actions? No, one cannot. Then how does one use actions for one's own self-development, for one's own self-growth, for one's own inner growth? So convert karma, actions, into karma yoga. Yoga means something to join. Yoga means to join. Karma yoga is that sadhana which will help you join with the infinite, with the whole, with the higher principle. So you will use the very actions with a changed attitude, making actions itself as a sadhana, as something that you can use as a spiritual tool for inner growth, and externally anyways you will be doing what is to be done. Maharshi gives that, you may repeat after me. Ishwararpitam Nechaya kritam Chittashodhakam Mukti sadhakam. So very simple sadhana, in fact. It's a simple sadhana because we haven't tried it. It seems very complex. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam. So what do you do with all the actions and results? Ishwararpitam. So all the results that you get, or all the actions that you perform, having performed an action, submit it at the feet of the Lord, or to that higher power, to higher principle. I have done my best. Now I surrender this action onto you, O Lord. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam. There is a disclaimer here. Whenever you give something to another person or God, a murti in the temple, it should be something good, right? You must have put your best effort. So that is what is worthy of giving. So before you do Ishwararpana, whatever you need to do, you must do it well. So before giving, that condition applies. So do it well, whatever you got to do. Having done that, submit at the altar of the Lord. Chitta shodh nechaya kritam. And how do I perform that karma that I am offering? Nechaya. Without any selfish motive. Without any strong selfish motive. That is the end. It may not happen on day one, but keep examining. It is a possibility to do actions for the sake of it. Everything need not be oriented towards a strong selfish desire. Towards a strong selfish desire. It is a possibility to do spontaneous actions. Spontaneously, whatever things to be done, whatever is your duty, whatever is your responsibility, whatever the acts that you got to do in the world are done spontaneously. That's karma yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. It's done as if it's an art. A trained painter just paints everything so beautifully. The person may be selling that painting to make a living. But is there some strong selfish desire involved when that person is painting that? No. It is possible to just paint as a spontaneous expression of one's talent or one's ability. Similarly, if a coder has to do that, that person codes, can code with the same attitude. There need not be too many things based on some selfish motives motivating that act. It is a possibility. Nechaya kritam. Being done without a strong selfish motive. If such an action is performed, then the very act becomes chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. Such acts become those actions through which chitta, the mind, becomes pure. Mind becomes pure, and these acts themselves become mukti sadhakam, a sadhana, a means to move towards moksha. Move towards moksha. See, such is the high philosophy of Ramana Maharshi, coming from actually Bhagavad Gita. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. All of this is there in the teachings of Krishna. But then, unfortunately, so many aspects of our living has come down to such a low level that even when person is doing puja in the temple, hosting a ritual or doing a yajna, anything, even that is not done with a pure heart or a simplicity, without any ichcha. It is done with strong selfish motive. And then one's name is boasted everywhere. One's photos are projected everywhere. All of it is done. See, now when you go see some of the temple festivals or rituals that happen in India, you won't know whether a political rally is happening there or what is that? That many signboards, that many hoardings, and all of it. A puja, a beautiful ritual which could help a person to lose the ego, to dilute the ego. The very puja is used in order to enhance the ego. Enhance the ego. I did it. I am the sponsor. I did it. My photo is not there. Hey. So, we have lost the ability to transform our life through our own knowledge systems by not paying enough attention. So you all are here, students of Vedanta, to pay attention. So wherever you need tweaking and enhancement of your life and adjusting your lifestyle to align with this, may every act that you do become chitta shodhakam, something which will help the mind to get purified, and mukti sadhakam. They become a sadhana towards moksha. Whatever you might be doing, you're a surgeon, do the surgery as a sense of duty, and having done that, offer it at the altar of the Lord. And whatever is the salary or the reward for performing your duties, may you accept it as prasadam, prasada buddhi. So Karma Yoga involves these two essential attitudes: Ishwararpana buddhi, submitting a well done, well tried action at the altar of the Lord, and accepting whatever comes as the prasada, as prasada. But there are so many Brihaspatis in temple I have seen, they'll take prasadam. Brihaspati is a word used for if somebody is very foolish, that it's a sarcastic way of calling that person Brihaspati. Brihaspati means a person with great knowledge. So they will go to temple, and then the arati is done and everybody gets prasadam. So they will take the prasadam, and people will walk a bit and talking to everyone, and they'll taste the prasadam and say, oh, salt is less today. Sweet, it's not good. Maybe the cook is changed. Yeah, that cook is no more there. So the whole prasadam, no, it's not the way it used to be. Oh my God, prasada means what? That you just accept. Accept without comments. That which you accept without any reservations. So that very prasada is, the definition of prasada itself is changed, that is not accepted. A place, a ritual through which you could have gained acceptance, you have lost that occasion in order to gain acceptance. Even at the level of actual prasadam itself, there is no acceptance. What to talk about other things of the world? So one must pay attention to life. One must pay attention to one's own day-to-day living. Otherwise, Vedanta will be going in one track. Your actions will be going in one track, like two parallel lines will never meet. So it should not be that. So that's what Ramana Maharshi is telling. In fact, this is a very unique sadhana in Sanatana Dharma. worshipping the Lord through one's duties. Worshipping God through a puja called duty. Through a puja called day-to-day life, day-to-day actions. So everything must be done with the same attitude, that of puja, with a reverence. Thus, if you really, if a country, if a civilization, if a set of people adopt these values, every action is efficiently done, and I think we may not have a phenomenon called corruption. Because puja is done with a reverence attitude, with reverence. So similarly, if you are a person cleaning something, you do it reverentially. If you are a builder building something for the government, you would do it reverentially. Somehow we have missed out on this attitude. At least at the individual levels, we must be very focused in having this right. So from a karmi, from a person who was just acting based on selfish desires and all the time considering oneself as the doer, you become a karma yogi. That's very important. Moving further, Maharshi is giving other sadhana. Kaya vang manaha karyamuttamam pujanam japaschintanam kramat. So when it comes to dharmika actions, dharmika karma, religious actions, we have many kind. And Maharshi is telling one can indulge in all these actions, all these sadhanas, or one can start with one and keep on moving on to next. That is the ideal growth pattern. So what is that? So there are different types of karma. Kaya vang manaha karyamuttamam. Maharshi is telling there are a set of actions that you do out of the body, kayikam karma. Vachikam karma, you do certain actions through speech. Manasam karma, so you do certain actions at a mental level. Pujanam japas chintanam kramat. So when it comes to religious actions, at the body level, using the instrument called body, you perform the puja. Using the instrument called vak, you do japa, is repetition. And using the instrument called mind, you do chintana or dhyana. Meaning meditation. So these three sadhanas are there, and one is superior to another in the ascending order. That's what Maharshi says, kramat. Puja, better than puja is japa, better than japa is meditation. This is the krama. So you locate wherever you are, wherever you fit in, and start your sadhana from there. No need to condemn yourself. Spirituality is not condemnation. Spirituality is transformation. So you locate where you are and start from there. So all of it is being done for what purpose? For the purity of mind and chitta ekagrata, in order to gain the ability to focus the mind on one object. So we need that. That's why puja. Then japa is the same practice through which mind or vak is also trained. Mind is also involved in everything. The mind gets trained, the organ of action gets trained, and then you get the ability to focus on a higher principle. Immediately, that higher principle for an ordinary person cannot be conceived. So the parampara, the tradition, has evolved certain Ishtadevata, the puja system, temples, etc. for mind to concentrate. So, should we just stay at that level? No. Include yourself in all these sadhanas, but then move to the highermost sadhana. What is that? Chintanam. Chintanam means inquiry also. Chintanam means inquiry. And Chintanam can also mean dhyana, meditation, ability to meditate. For though if a person still doesn't have ability to meditate, then start with puja, start with some ritual, start with japa, then move on to dhyana also. In fact, every puja has a step in it. Shodashopachara puja has a step called meditation, dhyanam. So what we have done is, religious life has become so mechanical that dhyanam is also done as an action. So the purohit or whoever is doing dhyanam, and then they will not even close the eyes, at least for the sake of it. That dhyana shloka, they will just utter it and then stop. Then go to the next step. So in fact, puja involves dhyanam. You have to meditate upon the deity to which you are offering the puja, the Bhagavan. You have to meditate upon the Bhagavan first. That's why every Sahasranama, everything starts with a dhyana shloka. So we don't meditate upon it, we just go. Because why? The orientation is doing. I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. So, nahi nahi rakshati dukran karane. Shankaracharya said that. Nahi nahi rakshati dukran karane bhaja govindam bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. The singer Vasana takes over. So Shankara says, this simply doing one thing after another is not going to solve human predicament, human problem. So our effort in and through puja, japa, whatever one does, must be to cultivate a mind which is free, which has an ability to just be. Which has an ability to just be. That's what is being focused through all of it. Now, Maharshi moves on to another topic. So the focus in these two shlokas, third and fourth, is the karma yoga sadhana. And for karma yoga sadhana, may you use the religious actions as well as your worldly duties and actions, whatever you do. It is a possibility to be centered in spite of all the things that you do externally. Janaka Maharaja is considered as a jnani in our whole literature, Puranic literature and Vedic literature, all of it. So once Janaka was a king. He was ruling the kingdom, yet a centered person. A person who had the wisdom, who was doing hundreds of activities, yet a centered person. So once a scholar visits Mithila and he has a doubt. Oh, how is it a possibility? They are saying this Janaka, King Janaka is a wise man, he's a jnani, he's an enlightened person. How is it? And he's a karma yogi. What karma yoga, what jnanam? He is sitting on golden seat and doing all this. How is it? It just doesn't seem all right. So the scholar came to talk to Janaka, and Janaka, being a highly evolved person, could read his mind. So he calls his ministers, his assistants, and tell, hey, take this Pandit ji, take this scholar around the town, but place a pot with oil on top of his head. And he gives this instruction to his soldiers or minister, whoever. He says, even if one drop of oil gets spilled, chop off his head. And now Janaka looks at the scholar and says, please have the tour of this beautiful Mithila. So the Pandit goes through the entire town. He circles the entire town. Mithila has magnificent buildings, artifacts, monuments, and all of it. And he returns back. And then Janaka asks the Pandit, so how was your tour of Mithila? So how did you enjoy? So the scholar said, what enjoyment? All the time I was thinking about oil. So Janaka, the story ends there, but story conveys what Janaka is. He may be ruling the kingdom, 100 things are around him, but just as the scholar's mind was all entirely focused on that oil pot, Janaka's mind was always inward, merged with the self. So it's a possibility. We see wise people all around doing what is to be done, doing their duties and living a life based on wisdom. So Karma Yoga is a possibility, Jnana Yoga is a possibility. To be a Jnani in the world is a possibility. So if not, because always the householders always have this question, so is it a possibility, then we would not hold these Vedanta camps. Isn't it so? Then we would say, no, what is the condition for entry? You should be a sannyasi or something like that. No? It's for everyone. It's for anybody who wants to know. Anybody who wants to be free here and now. Moving further, repeat after me. Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhrata Deva Pujanam Ashtamurti Bhrata Deva Pujanam. This tune is nice. When you will learn the whole chant, we will practice once or twice also in between. Now Maharshi is suggesting a worship, a puja. Puja is an essential practice, no doubt. One has to do puja. One has to do puja daily. Oh Swamiji, I don't have time for all that. I don't have mind for all that. So Maharshi has known us. So he is giving us another beautiful puja. What is that? Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. Puja means serving the Lord. Isn't it so? When we see a puja, we are serving the Lord who is invited into that murti. So we offer snanam, we offer clothes, we offer many things. In fact, what is most important is the bhava, the emotions with which you offer. Once I went to Vrindavan with Swami Pratikbodhananji. So Vrindavan is very beautiful city for Lord Krishna, and a lot of bhaktas stay there. So first thing I saw Swamiji and a lot of people, we went together, and then I saw, it was winter time, I think around December, yes, we went in December, and then we took the darshan of Krishna there, and then Krishna was wearing woolen clothes, sweater, gloves, and a cap. So bhava, bhakti, bhava is so important there. There's emotion behind it, not just any other cloth. It's winter. Just like me, Krishna will feel cold, so I will give him sweater. So bhakti is the most important element of the puja, not what you offered or anything. What is your bhava? What is your emotions behind? That is most important. Maharshi is suggesting a profound puja. He's saying, what does this puja involve? Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam. May you serve not just one limited murti, may you serve the entire world as if the entire world is Lord. In fact, it's not as if, it is the Lord. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyan jagat. And serve the entire world as the Lord, as the Jagat itself is Lord. And how do you do it? Ashtamurti bhrit deva pujanam. By doing the puja of this deva, who are 8 in number, Ashtamurti. Or not 8 in number, sorry. A murti consisting of 8 aspects. Our Dakshina Murti in the temple is called as Ashtamurti. So the Ashta means 8. 8 aspects. What are the 8 aspects? Akasha, the space. Vayu, the air. Agni, the fire. Apaha, the waters. Prithvi, the earth. 5. So we need another 3. What are the other 3? Sun, moon. So 5 plus 2, 7. What is the last one? The last one is you, us, all of us. So in this puja, everyone is included, everything is included. May you serve the world called, may you serve the God called world. May you serve the world with a reverential attitude, with a reverential attitude. The same reverence you have it in the temple, the same reverence must be there in the workplace. Same reverence must be there at home. Same reverence must be in the university. Anywhere, whatever is your context, have the same attitude of reverence. Then life will be beautiful and you will be performing puja every day, every time. You cannot say you don't have time, because whatever you are doing is puja. That itself is puja. There is no saying that no time. So people sometimes take pride. I did puja for 3 hours. I'm a great bhakta. Now you can say I worked for 12 hours. I did puja for 12 hours. If you are working with karma yoga buddhi. Otherwise work will become work. Something frustrating, something which causes stress, something which you don't like, where you don't align. So karma yoga is converting your workspace into a temple. Work into worship. Work into worship. So that has to be done. That has to be done. Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. So a true bhakta moves along the world having reverence for everything, for everyone. There is a respect for sun, there is respect for moon. In fact, that is the darshan. What is the darshan of the Lord? Is looking at the deity after the alankaram. So you can have a beautiful darshan every morning, that after the sunrise, it's as if the whole world is got a decoration, and you see the darshan of the entire world itself as God. Wow, what a darshan! What a darshan! You see the sun, there is darshan. You see the moon, there is darshan. You see waters, there is darshan. For such a person who has evolved oneself to this level, the world itself has everything to worship. Everything to worship. This becomes a very important sadhana in the life of a bhakta. So Ramana Maharshi through this verse has introduced Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti, where you move your focus from dravya, objects. From dravya, you have your focus towards Ishvara, towards the higher power. An ordinary bhakta's focus is always there on the dravya. If that is there, this is there, that is there. To such a bhakta, if one dravya is missing, one object of worship which is used in the worship is missing, such a person gets highly disturbed. Oh, it's not there. Oh, sandalwood paste. How can I do puja without that? Milk, how can I do without it? Flowers, how can I do a puja without it? This and that. For this person has moved from dravya to Ishvara, to Lord. Very important. You want to directly have connection with the God rather than having connections with objects. That's not the way to look at it. And then the entire world you look at as God, as Ishvara, as that higher principle. So, what is darshan? What is darshan? Darshan is long, loving gaze at the God. Long, loving gaze at the God. Now, our darshan, what we take is a short gaze at the Lord, because by the time you have seen, somebody says Jargandi. Jargandi is an expression used in the Tirupati line in order to make the people move. So, darshan is long, loving gaze. That's the true darshan. So you can have long, loving gaze at the sun, at the moon, at the stars, at Akasha, the sky, at everything around, at the grandson, at the granddaughter, at the car. It becomes stupid to do this exercise if you are not able to see the higher principle in these objects. If your sight is just at the object level, then you are literally looking at the car, nothing else. Long, loving gaze at the car. No. There's a higher principle governing all of it that you are seeing. Darshan is long, loving gaze of that, recognition of that. Not long, loving gaze at the TV. This, Swamiji, in fact, you have made life so easy. All that I have to do is have long, loving gaze at the smartphone, at the TV, my wife, husband, that nobody wants. Cinema, mall. No, it's not that. Long, loving gaze at the higher principle, which is expressing, manifesting in this Ashtamurti. 5 elements, Surya, Chandra, and the Jiva, the self, the individual. So that's what one needs to do. That's the sadhana, bhakti sadhana, that Ramana Maharshi is prescribing. Otherwise, worship also becomes mechanical. One has not gained anything, one has not transformed through all of it. It simply becomes another action performed. Just that it is religious in nature, that's all it is. Otherwise it would just be, if not, it would be as ordinary as anything that you do. So karma yoga is raising the ordinary sadhana into an extraordinary sadhana, into a moksha sadhana, making the mundane divine. That is karma, yoga and bhakti. We'll discuss further in the next class. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. So that is the orientation. Because in our ashram, when we chant Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, we chant Asatoma Sadgamaya after that. So our Kiran is attuned to it. Very, very nice. But then I'm bringing Kiran to the present moment, not the mechanical mind. To stay with the context, stay with the context. Yeah. It so happened, Puja Swamiji was teaching us in Coimbatore Gurukulam, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So as you all heard and saw today afternoon during the lunch, before the lunch, I was chanting the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we chant the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. No, what was I trying to say? After that, we chant another shloka, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. So Swamiji was teaching this shloka. So in the Coimbatore Gurukulam, after chanting that shloka, we chant one more shloka, which is Annapurne Sadapurne Shankara Pranavallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham Bhikshan Dehi Cha Parvati. So Swamiji chanted he was teaching this shloka, he was unfolding, just like I taught you all the shloka. Puja Swamiji taught the Brahmarpanam Brahmavi shloka. So one brahmachari, after Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina, Puja Swamiji ended and he started Annapurne Sadapur. So orientation. So what we need to handle in life is orientation. Very insightful. We must look at life very deeply and keep on correcting the orientation everywhere. That's how we progress in life. Keep on correcting the orientation. I keep on correcting the orientation. When I know that I'm in the US, I don't drive, I will sit at the passenger seat, yet I go towards the driver's seat here, just like that of India. Correct the orientation. Correct the orientation. Smallest to biggest things. Keep on correcting the orientation. Yeah. If you have any questions, we can spend a few moments, or if you want to